Hello, I'm Janice Franklin, Dean of the Levi Watkins Learning Center and Project Director for the National Center for the Study of Civil Rights and African American Culture. I'm here today to first extend our sincere thanks to the patrons of the National Center who have done an outstanding job in supporting us through the years as we seek to achieve our mission, reaching and teaching others around the world about the history and culture of African Americans, with a special focus on the role of Alabama State University in the rich history of the African American experience in Montgomery. We look at our patrons as advocates for this mission, and we also appreciate their efforts in fundraising and their overall service to the National Center. Our president, Dr. Ross, talks about our university being a communiversity, a university that speaks to its community and offers services and assists wherever needed. And in the same way, we rely on our community to work directly with us in the service that we perform as we carry out our mission. So thanks to the patrons. Thanks for all that you do for us. Thanks for over 15 years of service to the National Center and all the many activities that you perform on our behalf. Thanks also to the officers who worked so diligently through the years, from our first president, Ms. Johnny Roster, to our vice president, the first vice president, Mr. Herman Harris, and to today, Dr. Valda Montgomery, who is the president of the patrons, and also thanks to Mr. Bill Ford, who is vice president. They are our friends indeed.
The purpose of our patrons organization is to support the National Center for the Study of Civil Rights and African American Culture at Alabama State University, because they put on so many wonderful programs, and of course, as a patron, you want to support them, especially financially as well as physically, with their programs. But with that being said, the patrons ourselves, our own unique activities and events that we put on biannually, the Legacy Gala, which we celebrate some of the things that we've done. We celebrate the National Center, we celebrate our members, we just celebrate the fact that we're here, that we're present, and all of the accomplishments that have been made. We also do a fundraiser, a fun fundraiser called Gamapalooza that's been a big hit with us, that highlights African American history in games, and that has been a real big turn on. We have, in the past few years, tried to resurrect the field trips. We had a wonderful field trip at Tuskegee. Believe it or not, it's only 30 miles away, but you would think you know everything about Tuskegee until we did the field trip. And one of the bonuses was to visit the Commodore's Museum, which was a real treat. We have on tap now a field trip to Memphis to visit the Stax Museum as well as the Lorraine Motel. So these are the kinds of things that we want to encourage. We want to encourage people to join so that they can participate in the events that we are having, and hopefully come up with some new ideas that we can continue to celebrate.
The patrons of the National Center, after I retired from 30 years at WSFA, my good buddy and former co-worker, Dr. Howard Robinson, who has an important role at the National Center, called me and asked me to join the board. Now, I had already been appointed to several boards, and I was kind of hesitant to do it at first, but after thinking about it, I realized it was a way for me to pay back to the university that I had owed a lot to. So it's all part of my work as an ASU alum. Is the Colvin Fagan Art Show, of which the National Center sponsors every year. And partly because it's art and fine art, and also because of my personal connection to both of the principals. Dr. Colvin was my history at the university spans many decades. Not only did both my parents go to school here, but I started school here in '71 and didn't actually obtain my degree until like 30 years later because of various reasons. So I have had the opportunity to be associated with so many heads of the art department, from Dr. John Hall to Dr. Britt, through Dr. Ellen Larkins and others, and Dr. Colvin. And Mr. Fagan was the art teacher, a longtime art teacher, and he was the senior high art instructor at Carver High School, and my father was the elementary or the junior high art instructor, and their classrooms were conjoined. And so my experience with Mr. Fagan goes back decades, or, from a little boy. He's like a mentor and a second father in so many respects.